Good morning, everybody. Glad you're with us today. It's the first of a new month, and I absolutely love this season. There's just something peaceful about fall, and even more than that, something peaceful and beautiful every time I read God's Word, and I hope you feel the same way. In our devotion today, we are in Proverbs chapter 26. This chapter, more so than some of the others, hammers people who are foolish or lazy. It hammers people who gossip or stir up strife and conflict. It hammers people who lie. For instance, look at what he says about foolish people in verses 4 and 5. He said, "Do not answer a fool according to his folly, or you will also be like him. Answer a fool as his folly deserves, that he not be wise in his own eyes." It's the idea that, you ever notice in a group setting sometimes somebody will say something foolish and people are afraid to disagree, so they just go along with it, and the fool thinks what he's saying is what everybody thinks and agrees with, and it's really not. And so he's saying, don't just automatically agree when people say stuff that's nonsense. There are times we need to disagree and times we need to correct. Always do it lovingly, but disagree and correct. Verse 10, look at what he said in verse 10. Like an archer, this was interesting, an interesting image. He said, like an archer who wounds everyone, so is he who hires a fool or who hires those who pass by. In other words, if you're an employer and you give a job to somebody who's a fool, it's like putting arrows in the hand of a crazy person, because their behavior, their work ethic, their attitude, their words are going to hurt other people in your employment. It's going to cause damage and hurt your business and hurt relationships there. Now, what is a fool? Well, in the book of Proverbs, a fool is someone who thinks too highly of himself or herself, his opinion, her opinion, and they just freely share their opinion all the time. They're opinionated out the wazoo, and they're always right, and they reject the wise counsel of others. They reject the wise counsel of God. They don't listen, and they don't learn. And what the writer of Proverbs is saying is, if you hire people like that, you're going to create problems for yourself. And don't just put up with their nonsense and go along with it all the time. The second group I want to mention for a moment are those who stir up strife, conflict. Look at verse 17. He said, like one who takes a dog by the ears. This was an interesting image as well. He said, it's like a person who takes a dog by the ears is he who passes by and meddles with strife not belonging to him. In other words, when you butt into other people's business, when you butt into other people's conflict, it's like you reached down and you grabbed a rabid dog by the ears, and now you can't let go, because if you do, you're going to get bit. You're going to get hurt. You know, our law enforcement officers, one of the most dangerous situations they encounter are domestic disputes. Husband beating up on his wife, a 911 call. The police shows up, and all of a sudden they both turn on the cop. When you stick your nose in where it doesn't belong, you're going to get burned. So be careful about that, he says. Verse 20, for lack of wood, the fire goes out, and where there is no whisperer, the person likes to go around and say, did you hear? Let me tell you about such and such. Oh, I just want you to pray for him. Where there's no whisper, contention quiets down. Don't butt into other people's business. You're going to get bit. But also gossip. And in the church, we're really good at spiritualizing our gossip. But gossip fans the flame of conflict, of disagreement, of broken relationships. So don't do it. And since the book of Proverbs and elsewhere in the New Testament are so clear in condemning gossip, it would be wise for us not to believe everything we hear. You do know that just because someone says something, that does not automatically make it true. You know that, don't you? So don't automatically assume that someone is accurate when they're saying something about somebody else. Show some prudence and some wisdom And just don't let that happen in your life. When I was reading this chapter and writing my journal, the part of the prayer I wrote at the end of the time was, God, help me to be teachable. And since I'm an I personality type and like to talk, and most preachers do, help me to talk less and listen more. It's biblical. It's probably pretty wise advice for all of us, don't you think? Hey, you have a great day. Sunday morning, our two contemporary services here at First Baptist, 8:30 and 11 o'clock. And then our traditional service in the middle at 9:45. I hope you'll join us in church here at First Baptist Church, Rock Hill, this Sunday. God bless you, and I'll see you not only Sunday morning, but then next Monday with another devotion.